You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, obviously, as with every year, but especially the last couple of years and this year, one of the biggest stories is going to be, where are these QBs going? Where are these QBs going? Who's going to hit the market? Where are the QBs going? By the way, Daniel Jones did get the transition tag. I mean, in theory, somebody could still get to him, but probably not. And by the way, the Vikings were monitoring that situation very closely. Multiple insiders confirmed they had their eye on Daniel Jones. And that's why the Colts did that. Because they obviously knew Daniel Jones, familiar with Kevin O'Connell's system from being there. Now, of course, Kyler Murray is on the market. So, of course, that means, well, the Vikings may very well be interested in him. And I've said this before, folks. If you want to know, or at least have a pretty good idea of what's going down, keep an eye on the betting markets. And as of right now, the Vikings are the early favorites for Kyler Murray. Now, it can change. Just like when the Browns hired Todd Monken, all of a sudden, about 18 hours before it happened, Tyler Monken shot up to the favorite after not being the favorite ever. But that 12 to 18-hour span, the betting markets adjusted because they already knew. They heard Todd Monken's getting hired. And all of a sudden, the odds changed big time. Well, as of right now, the Vikings are leading this charge. And by the way, we'll go over to what this could mean for J.J. McCarthy. I did a video the other day. Word has it the Vikings are done with J.J. McCarthy. Like they're already out. They've already given up on him as an NFL quarterback. I'm going to be very interested to see what coach takes a chance on him. Like, not as a starter this year, but as let me bring him in and set him on the roster for a couple of years and see if we can work with, because he's young. I think JJ's 23. So anyway, DraftKings has the Vikings as the early favorites to sign the first overall pick from the 2019 draft at a minus 110. The Jets are next at a plus 175 with the Dolphins at a plus 320. And the Browns at plus 450. There's a lot of fire, at least around all the national insiders. There's a lot of fire around Kyler Murray and the Browns. On a local level, it sounds like there's not. But it makes sense, and I did not talk about this in my video yesterday afternoon when he was getting released, but it's the same premise as Russell Wilson. The Cardinals are going to be carrying his contract, which means whatever team signs him is getting him for $1.3 million. For $1.3 million, you get Kyler Murray. So it's just like Russell Wilson. That pretty much makes Kyler Murray in play everywhere. All right, that could potentially, in other words, other contracts that other quarterbacks on a roster that are there, that's not cost prohibitive. All right. You know what team we haven't brought up in this? Why wouldn't the Houston Texans look at bringing him in? And don't tell him, hey, you're going to compete with CJ. No, just have him on the roster and see if CJ melts down again. And if he does, boom, you throw Kyler Murray in. I'm just throwing that out there. Nobody's brought that up. But so the Deshaun Watson contract, along with the rookie contracts of Shedeur and Dillon, not going to keep Kyler from going to the Browns. That $1.3 million makes him viable. The Dolphins, all right, Tua Tagovailoa, if he's not released, That big ass, they're going to have to carry that contract too. They're carrying that big ass contract. They signed Kyler Murray for $1.3 million. They got a replacement. So there's a lot of places where he could be viable. The Falcons are at a plus 500. Kevin Stefanski, interesting. One of the most intriguing options given their talent elsewhere on offense. As mentioned over the weekend, however, new president of football operations, Matt Ryan, a 6'5" former quarterback, will have to be content to ride with an undersized signal caller. Here's the long shot to watch, a plus 7,500, the Rams. By the way, there's a rumor floating around, nobody knows if it's true yet, that Matthew Stafford has already called Kyler Murray about being the backup with the LA Rams. Kyler Murray hooks up with Sean McVay, learns how to play quarterback for a season, goes somewhere else, and he's the next insert guy here. Sam Darnold, whoever. Because, of course, there's a lot of fire about Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Cardinals to replace Kyler Murray. It's weird how things work out. It is weird how things work out. So, Murray's former head coach in Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury, is now a member of the Rams coaching staff. All right, so there you go. The other one, this is interesting. Baker Mayfield, he went to the Rams, remember? And he credited the Rams of helping reboot his career. So I'm just that is a thing right now. Okay, so Peter Schrager had come out last week and said that Adolfo Mensa got fired because of the quarterback situation with the Vikings. We all knew that. I talked about that when we did the video. Quote, they fired the GM because he had Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and an interested Aaron Rodgers in the building, and he said, no, we're good with J.J. Max Brosmer and Carson Wentz as backups. They're not going to make the same mistake twice. So that's why the Kyler Murray thing is popping up right now. All right? So, but they would look at moving on. By the way, you could have J.J. McCarthy on the staff. I mean, you could have him on the roster as the backup. I mean, again, you're looking at $1.3 million. Hell, for that kind of money, the fact that JJ's on a rookie deal, the Vikings could sign two guys here. Because there's a lot of rumors about Geno Smith. So then you got a world where you're going into next season with Kyler Murray or Geno as your starter, Kyler Murray and or Geno as your backup, and J.J. McCarthy as your third-string quarterback. It's a better quarterback room by a shot than it was last year. Now, here's the problem. If you ask me which of the two guys I'd rather have Geno. And again, it's going around just like I said it would. It's going around the league right now that Geno Smith was not viewed as the problem. It was the Raiders and Chip Kelly. Just like I talked about during the season. Over and over and over again. I said, Geno didn't all of a sudden get shitty again. He didn't. I mean, he had 3 good years in a row with Seattle, then goes to the Raiders and crashes and burns. No, it's because Chip Kelly's offense is fucking garbage. And he never should have been hired back into the NFL. I'm still floored. But you get my point. Geno going to get a job and probably will start with somebody. We know he's not going to the Jets. I guess. Anyway. So, there you got. I think the Falcons are weirdly interesting. By the way, nobody knows if Kyler can be a franchise quarterback. Nobody knows. And he's small. Can he stay healthy? That's part of this. He's missed 21 of 51 games in the last 3 years. But at $1.3 million, you sign the dude and just put him on the roster and say, we'll figure it out. I know Browns media is shooting this down. Andrew Berry, small quarterback, $1.3 million. There's a lot of reasons to think, yeah, I can totally see the Browns signing this dude. Whether the media wants to kick and scream about them not doing it or not. I mean, it makes some sense. You think Todd Monken doesn't look at Kyler Murray and goes, well, look what I did with Lamar. I could probably do that with Kyler. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.